Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to explore a challenge a lot of runners face, and that's analysis paralysis, getting stuck in all that data. And we're going to be looking at insights from running coach Renné Hernández.
Oh, wow. A running coach. This sounds really cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he shared his thoughts in a Spanish language audio clip. And in it, he uses this term paralysis analysis to describe how runners can get really caught up in all the data from their devices, that it almost creates like a stage fright, kind of on race day.
Stage fright, interesting. So it's not just pre-race jitters.
Yeah.
It's like this data overload can actually mess with your performance during the actual run.
I've seen that.
Have you really?
Oh, yeah. Tons of runners who are so focused on the numbers on their watch that they just completely lose touch with what their body's telling them.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of what you'd think, right? You'd think all that data would help them be more in tune with their bodies.
You would think.
But it's like they're almost becoming like slaves to the numbers.
Totally.
And it's this trap, Renné calls it the data trap.
The data trap. I like that.
Runners, they fall into it and they're constantly chasing this ideal performance based on data. And it totally distracts them from their own their own running wisdom.
Makes sense. But what are the consequences of that? What actually happens?
Oh, there's a bunch.
Really?
Yeah. For one, it can lead to a ton of stress,
Oh, yeah.
negative thinking instead of, enjoying the run.
Yeah.
They're constantly comparing their current performance to past runs or obsessing over hitting these very specific metrics.
Oh, so it's like they're putting all this pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
Even if they're just out for a casual run.
Even then. And all that pressure can easily lead to distorted pacing.
Oh, that makes sense.
When you're glued to the numbers on your watch,
Uh-huh.
you might just ignore your body's natural rhythm.
Yeah.
You might push too hard early on, which leads to burnout later, or hold back unnecessarily because you're afraid of not hitting a certain pace.
It's like they're trying to force their body into this data mold
Exactly.
instead of listening to what it actually needs right then.
In that moment.
Yeah, and that actually brings us to the most concerning consequence that Renné talks about.
Okay.
Losing that connection with your body.
Oh, absolutely. Runners can become so dependent on that external data
Right.
that they lose the ability to interpret their own internal cues
Wow.
about, fatigue, hydration, effort level.
Yeah.
Imagine being so fixated on your watch's pace that you miss the signs of dehydration or a muscle cramp coming on.
That's a great point.
It's like you're outsourcing your body's wisdom to a device.
But how do we avoid that? How do we avoid falling into this data trap?
Well, Renné, emphasizes that the data from wearables can be helpful.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't dictate your entire running experience. The key is to recognize its limitations and trust your body.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Using the data, but not letting it become this source of anxiety or distraction.
Exactly. Your body is the ultimate guide. To help runners kind of strike that balance, Renné offers some really practical advice.
Okay, cool.
First and foremost, trust your body.
Trust your body.
Learn to interpret those signals.
Yeah.
And just trust your instincts, especially on race day.
So it's about reclaiming that innate sense of knowing what your body needs, right?
Exactly.
How hard you can push it, all that.
Yeah, and he also stresses the importance of focusing on the present moment. Dwelling on past performances or worrying about, future outcomes.
Right.
That can hinder your performance in the now.
It's be here now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be present. Be in the experience of running. Feel the wind, the rhythm of your breath, the ground beneath your feet.
It's almost like he's advocating for a more mindful approach to running.
He is.
Does he have any resources he recommends for cultivating that?
He does.
Okay.
He actually recommends a book called Range
Range. Okay.
by David Epstein.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Have you?
Yeah.
It challenges the idea of hyper-specialization
Oh, interesting.
and highlights the benefits of having a broader range of experiences and skills.
Him mentioning range makes me think, could there be a connection between being a well-rounded athlete and being less susceptible to this analysis paralysis?
Oh, that's a good point.
Maybe those who just focus solely on data miss out on developing a deeper, more intuitive understanding of their sport.
Yeah, that's a really interesting connection, and it speaks to what Renné is, emphasizing this balance.
Yeah.
It's not about rejecting data altogether.
Right.
It's about finding a balance between data analysis and intuitive running.
Right. Finding a balance between specialization and diverse experience.
Exactly.
It reminds me of you see these runners, They meticulously track every single stat, They're analyzing every split, tweaking their training plans based on the latest data trends.
Yeah.
And then you have those runners who just run by feel.
Yeah.
They trust their intuition and enjoy the simple act of moving their bodies.
Uh-huh.
I imagine there's a whole spectrum in between those two.
Absolutely. And that's where René's advice really shines.
Okay.
It's not an either situation. It's about understanding how to use data as a tool without becoming enslaved by it.
Right.
Finding that personalized balance.
That works for you.
Exactly.
Harnessing the insights that the data can give you.
Yes.
But also honoring the wisdom of your own body.
Exactly. And, this ties into something else that René mentioned about race day.
Okay.
He talked about how some runners get so fixated on hitting those specific numbers that they actually miss out on the experience of the race itself.
Oh, wow.
The energy of the crowd, the beauty of the course, the camaraderie with fellow runners.
It's like they're so busy staring at their watch, they forget to look up and see where they are.
It is. And that's such a shame because, running can be such a joyful, liberating experience.
Yeah.
It's a chance to connect with your body, clear your mind, challenge yourself in ways you never thought possible.
Totally.
But when data becomes the dominant force, it can actually steal that joy.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it.
It does, and it turns running into a chore.
It becomes less about the journey and more about hitting those numbers, meeting those external expectations.
Yes.
Instead of connecting with why you started running in the first place.
It's about rediscovering that intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
That pure love of running that exists beyond the metrics and comparisons.
That's good for that.
And for those who struggle with this analysis paralysis, René's message is powerful.
What is it?
You are more than your data.
I like that.
You're a runner with a unique body, a unique story, and a unique capacity for growth. Trust your body and run free.
Such a beautiful message. I think all runners can benefit from hearing that.
Yeah.
Regardless of their level or experience,
Right.
And it makes me wonder how much of this data trap mentality spills over into other areas of our lives. We're constantly bombarded with data these days.
We are.
From social media metrics to financial reports to health statistics. It's easy to get caught up in the numbers and lose sight of what truly matters.
It's like we're all running our own mental marathons.
Yeah.
Constantly trying to optimize and measure every aspect of our lives.
Right.
And sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to just unplug, disconnect from the data stream, and just be present.
Be in the moment.
Trust our gut instincts, listen to our inner voice, and make decisions based on something deeper than just the numbers.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into analysis paralysis, the big question is, how do we find that balance in our own lives? How do we use data wisely without letting it control us?
That's a great question, and it's a question we all have to grapple with in our own way.
Yeah.
But I think René's insights offer a valuable starting point.
Okay.
Trust your body, focus on the present moment,
Yeah.
and rediscover the joy in the activities that you love. And perhaps most importantly, remember that you are more than the sum of your data.
Love it.
You are a complex, multifaceted being with a capacity for intuition, creativity, and connection.
Right.
That goes far beyond what any algorithm can measure.
Yeah, it really makes you think, how often are we letting data run the show, even when it's something as simple as going for a run?
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap for sure. But René's insights, they offer a really powerful counterpoint, don't they?
Totally.
He reminds us to trust our bodies, be present in the moment and reconnect with the joy of moving.
And remember that we are way more than a bunch of numbers,
Exactly.
We're runners, each with a unique story, a unique potential to grow. So next time you head out for a run, try putting René's advice into practice.
Just tune in to your body's signals.
Quite that mental chatter about your pace, how far you're going, all that.
And just run free.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into overcoming analysis paralysis.
My pleasure.
We got some amazing insights from Renné Hernández. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep running your own race.